We're going to get straight into some of the counters that are stealing attention because of the activity we're seeing on them. Starting off with BAT, I mean, it's continued its significant contribution to the day's turnover. Yesterday, it accounted for 14% of the day's turnover, and the last 2 days have seen in particular a strong foreign demand and foreign support. Is this still just a liquidity story that we're looking at, or is there something more to it?
BAT normally is a good counter to move into, especially when you're getting close to their full year. If you remember, this year they actually gave out a very good dividends of close to 12 shillings 50 cents, and most people try and start getting into the stock around this time before the price starts rallying up in anticipation of the dividend, and their profit line has been good for some time. So it's actually people taking positions, specifically thinking for myself, I think people are actually going in for the dividend next year as they take in positions when the price is still low.
Also on the foreigners list of stock picks of late sits Kenya Airways. I mean, investors continuing to jostle for positions on this counter. And we spoke about this earlier in the week, where a lot of the positive sentiment around this counter has been on the back of the fuel price and where it is at right now. What's your view on the counter and its ability to actually sustain interest moving forward?
Kenya Airways has built its foundation properly in terms of flights coming to East Africa and the region, and they're actually trying to expand into other parts of Africa. And if you compare vis-a-vis the strong other airlines in Africa, which is South African Airways, which is Ethiopian Airlines, KQ fare much a bit stronger, especially on the regional front and the international front. So if you find people moving into KQ, they're actually moving in for the long haul. You're looking at KQ coming out of the hole that it dug for itself and actually getting to a point where they are making profits going forward. But their turnaround, I don't think it's in the next quarter or 2 quarters. They still have a lot to do to get back those passengers that they've lost, start benefiting from fuel prices going up so that they can start using all the hedging strategies that they've been putting on, and to manage their costs well. Because I don't think laying off staff is the best method of managing costs.
We've already seen traders forecast that the local unit is set to strengthen as we approach December, with Kenyans returning home from abroad, tourists entering the country as well. Just how beneficial do you see the December period being for KQ in a context where airlines have become very competitive?
Well, it depends. If someone is loyal to KQ, most probably they're loyal to KQ. They did have a hitch when the staff went on strike. They lost quite a number of passengers. Because in this industry, for the type of passengers that actually really paying and recurring, if you do something like that, because guys were being delayed for 12 hours, 24 hours. But naturally, if someone has been loyal to KQ, especially for Kenyans abroad who are coming back home and Kenyans who are here going outside, most of them, most probably their most preferred method of means is Kenya Airways. But on the aspect of pricing, KQ has since become a bit expensive, especially if you want to do regional trips. If you look at their competitor Ethiopian Airlines, Egyptian Airways, people tend to go to those 2 airlines, which is actually a bit cheaper and effective.
On the banking front, in the meantime, CFC Bank traded largely at 49 shillings 50 yesterday. But in this instance, the counter experiencing both demand and supply from local institutions. What's the investment merit that local investors are seeing in CFC Bank right now?
Okay, they haven't released their 3rd quarter results, so most people are getting in to try and take a position before they release their results, which are expected to be good. All the issues with the merger and the acquisition between CFC and Stanbic, I think, are now easing out, and people are supposed to start seeing the benefits of the synergy of the 2 banks that came together. So for local investors, I think it's just for trying to get into the position before the results are released and gain on the capital appreciation.
When it comes to results, we've got a market that's also eagerly anticipating numbers out of Barclays. Any idea as to when those numbers will be released, and what are you forecasting?
Barclays sometime next week, if I am not that wrong. I don't expect anything large from Barclays. Most probably it will still be a flat growth like the other previous quarters that they've been doing. Yes, they are the largest bank, and even their flat growth is actually a very huge profit compared to the other banks who are recording 20%, 30% growth if you look at the relative number. But personally, I think it will be a flat growth between 5 and 8%.